My name is Scott, and I am a heterosexual. Oh my gosh, that just sounds so funny to say, but it's true. I believe I was born that way. I didn't choose it. It's just who I am. Likewise, I believe that there are people who are born with a full attraction to the same sex. By and large, we don't choose to be gay or straight. We are who we are. And if someone is born a certain way, I can't help but feel a little more empathy for their reality. At the same time, I also know what the scriptures say. I know the 6 verses that are direct references to homosexuality. I know the story of Sodom and Gomorrah in Genesis 19. But I think God rained down fire and sulfur upon that city, not because of homosexuality per se, but rather as a response to violent, coerced gang rape by all the men. And I know Leviticus, what it says, that homosexuality is an abomination. But it also says the same thing about getting tattoos and eating pork and women coming to church during their menstrual periods. And I know what Paul says in 1 Corinthians and 1 Timothy and Romans. But even in those verses, it could be argued that Paul was speaking against extramarital affairs and heterosexuals having gay sex and men having sex with children, a horrible and fairly common practice in that day. He was not necessarily speaking of loving, committed, monogamous relations between consenting adults. And I figure Paul in his world knew so little about the idea of sexual orientation. But oh my, how I wish that Jesus had spoken about this somewhere in the Gospels. But what I do know is that Jesus' harshest condemnation was against arrogant, self-righteous, judgmental church people. And what I do know is what it says in 1 John, that we are called to love one another. Why? Well, because He first loved us. God is love. Love is love. Amen. Well, I invite you to join us for worship here at Bellevue Presbyterian Church in the heart of Nashville. We'll worship every Sunday morning at 10:30 in person or on Facebook Live. This has been another 2-minute takeaway with Pastor Scott.